embark on a transformative journey with me today as I delve into the ancient system of healing known as Ayurveda. In this series titled My Ayurvedic Odyssey, I invite you to join me as I interview individuals who have undergone the rigorous study of Ayurveda at Maharishi International University. Each episode offers you a glimpse into the personal and professional journeys of these individuals, exploring how Ayurveda found them and how they've integrated its timeless wisdom into their lives to enhance overall well-being. My guests share insights and anecdotes that offer a glimpse into the profound impact Ayurveda has had on their lives and the lives of their clients. But our exploration doesn't stop there. We also delve into the future of Ayurveda and the creative ways these individuals envision promoting its growth as a practical system of self-care. With its focus on eliminating the root causes of conditions and improving overall health, my guests offer innovative strategies for integrating Ayurveda into modern healthcare systems and society at large. Join me on this enlightening journey as we uncover the timeless wisdom of Ayurveda and its potential to revolutionize modern wellness. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or new to the world of Ayurveda, this series promises to inspire, educate, and empower you on your own path to holistic health and well-being. Good afternoon. Today I'm continuing my series on working and talking with students and graduates of the program at Maharishi International University about their experience, their Ayurvedic journey, how they came to Ayurveda, how they profited both personally and professionally, and how they're thinking or bringing Ayurveda out into the world. So let's just jump right in. I have a wonderful guest today, Avanthi Singh. Welcome, Avanthi, to the Healthy Peaceful Podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, Noreen.
Absolutely. Yeah, usually I might read a little bio, but tell me a little bit, for our viewers and listeners, a little bit about your background. I know you were born in Johannesburg or close to Johannesburg, is that right?
I was actually born in Durban in South Africa. I currently live in Johannesburg in South Africa. So
Okay.
Durban was along the coast and Joburg is inland. So I was born in South Africa and loving it here.
Awesome, awesome. And I love the following question, that is, and this will take us a bit more into your background about, how you came to Ayurveda, how you decided you were going to commit to studying Ayurveda for a 3-year period. That's quite a commitment. And, just how you came to holistic healing and wellness, a little bit about maybe the kind of work you did, the circumstances. People love to hear, how did this come into your life?
Yeah, that's a lot of questions. So let me take you back to when I was 17. So a transcendental meditation found me. My older sister was lucky enough to be initiated into the transcendental meditation technique, and she handed that over to my younger sister and I. And at the age of 17, we were initiated into the technique, and that became a way of life for us. So transcendental meditation was the first step. And then Ayurveda was the next natural progression. So we learned a lot. Growing up in an Indian family, Ayurveda sort of incorporated into our everyday life in ways that we didn't understand. So it was just part of our life.
Yeah. So it was culturally, it was part of your culture. And boy,
Absolutely.
you were so fortunate to find meditation at such a young age.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
I mean, you,
It was really good. And I think, it benefited me in ways because I was quite a curious character. So I think I used meditation in ways that I don't think some people would accept, but it
right.
opened up a different universe for me.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to access different parts of yourself at that age puts you on this path of exploration
Oh,
that others don't really find except, when you are a seeker or you're older and have a different understanding. So for me, it was my playground of, the spiritual world in many ways.
Well, that's a wonderful way to describe it. It was your playground, and it really opened up the curiosity for you of life, perhaps more of healing, and of different ways of walking and perceiving in the world. So I really love that. And so you learned TM at a very young age, and I assume you were at university.
I was studying a Bachelor of Arts and I majored in English and psychology. I always wanted to be a doctor, and that didn't happen for the fear of working on a cadaver. So I thought I'd get into homeopathy, and that was the same story. I would have to work on a cadaver, and I thought, I'm not doing that. So instead of going down the medical route, I chose to do psychology. And
Okay.
yeah, I got my degree, my Bachelor of Arts in psychology, got into my honors year, and I panicked because psychology was putting everyone into little boxes and defining them, labeling them. And that didn't sit well for me because it was around the same time that I was doing practical counseling through an institution. And I was working with real people with real issues. And the knowledge that I was acquiring from psychology and the practical work were worlds apart. So that kind of, didn't sit well with me. And
Hmm.
my intention was to always have people heal and to have that authenticity of helping them. Real people have real problems. That's how I
Right.
saw the world. So I stuck to the counseling, but I didn't complete my honors. Got out of the field, did the counseling, and then got into a lot more of the spiritual healing alternate modalities. So working with crystals and color, um, whatever came my way, I absorbed. So I was fully immersed from my late teen years in anything alternate that could help people heal, and studied a whole lot of courses for about 25 years, did whatever I could. So my interest in healing the body, healing the mind, healing the emotions was at the forefront of everything I wanted to do in the world. And at the same time, I still had um, a day job. It was at a university. That also worked so beautifully for me because I love students, I love working with people. And it was something I really enjoyed up until 2019. Um, that's when everything towards this degree, I think, came to the fore. In 2019, my husband and I were involved in a motor vehicle accident where we are. It's tough to speak about, but it was
Course, and
a
I,
huge.
I I really appreciate you speaking about that. But before we get into that, because this is going to be a very important part of our conversation today, I just want to reflect back what you said about, you worked in a university setting, so obviously you had a passion for learning and working with students. So it's sort of like you're put in certain places for that are suitable, most suitable for you, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's not really unusual for you to be involved with academics or, decide to undergo an academic program to some extent because you're curious and, and also you indicated that you really had a passion for healing.
Yes, I did, and still do.
Awesome. And that you really wanted to look at real people and real problems. I love that
Absolutely.
because we can continue to um, you know, we can continue to try to assimilate knowledge and we're taking in knowledge and knowledge, but you really wanted to look at how can I help real people with real problems? Like, what are the practical things that these healing modalities and what is wholeness and healing, and what can I bring out there? So, thank you so much for that, because that is really the foundation. I think that desire and that inspiration has to be there. And we each do it in our own ways in terms of how we bring the knowledge out there. So let's fast forward now. So for many decades, you're on the healing path. You have a passion for learning. You're in an academic setting. So 2019, you indicated that you and your husband were in an automobile accident. And I know this is very sensitive. So how much can you share with us about that and the impact on your lives?
I don't mind sharing about it because I know it probably will help someone out there. So as much as it's challenging to speak about, I feel it's necessary to bring healing to myself and to others. So in 2019, basically going through this motor vehicle accident, we find out a couple of years later that they almost lost us. They took about 3 hours to resuscitate us. And it was both my husband and I. So I wasn't on this journey alone, which if one of us were injured, I think it made a bigger difference to the support we had, but we both were in everything together. So we had this accident, ended up in ICU, and stayed in hospital for a month, got out of there and lost everything. We lost friends, we lost family, we lost our jobs. Everything was a 360. We literally were stripped of our identity, our space in the world, everything. It feels like a nightmare talking about it, but it was in a space that was unfamiliar because my husband and I were always people that were high functioning and doing everything that we loved. We loved our life, but everything was taken away in an instant. Then we found out
You know,
after the
I actually want to what you said that everything was taken away in an instant. And although yours was rather dramatic in terms of what happened, um, many people can have that turn in their lives, and it's usually preceded by a set of circumstances that they don't necessarily desire or wish for.
absolutely.
And and everything can change in an instant.
Yes, the levels of trauma can vary. Each person can only handle their lot of trauma. As I say, everyone has their own cross to bear. I didn't realize mine was so huge, but healing the trauma is possible, which I know. But yeah, just describing a few things that we went through. So we found out after the accident that we had sustained traumatic brain injury. I lost my ability to walk because I had numerous fractures. I lost my ability to speak properly, to write, to do any sort of motor skills, coordination, spatial perception. My entire world literally was shattered because I didn't have, as I said, I didn't belong anywhere in that moment, not spatially, not physically. There was such a huge dissociation from myself, body, mind, emotions. And at that stage, with the brain injury, I lost touch of what my meditation program could do for me. Yet I had that as a tool. And I started asking questions about 2 years into it when I even lost my sight. So when I started reading, I kept on getting information that um, my TN needed to be adjusted in some way. So I reached out, and 2 years after that, I started finding out how I could do TM in this injured state. And that's when my true journey of healing began. And that was, yeah, 2 years after the accident. When I started reading as well, in the same year, the Maven program came up again, and I was asked, why don't I do it? So I was going to sign up to do the Maven program in 2019. I was going to join the September cohort, and that
So
never
just
happened.
for our listeners and viewers, the the Maven program is the Masters of Ayurveda Integrative Medicine program at Maharishi University. So this was approximately 2 years after your automobile accident where you suffered traumatic brain injury, and had, a very long period of recovery, that you were getting information about this particular program, about the Ayurveda program at MIU.
Yes, so I did get some of the information in 2019 prior to the accident. So it was stored in some memory bank. And then it started coming via emails again. So I decided, why not? I'm going to go down the route of attempting to try and study something. I started reading children's books to get my reading correct. I started using Google to start pronouncing my words. So it was a long journey of retraining myself because I didn't have any medical care after the accident. We went into COVID. So there were lots of complications about the help that I could get. So it was very limited. So I decided to do everything on my own. I started using my practical healing skills that I could on myself. I started using Ayurveda, what I knew. So part of what I sustained in the accident was a stroke on the right side of my body, and I had no mobility in that. And I started doing some yoga, and I have some movement on the right side, which was great. But overall, it was me starting a program because I didn't want to be labeled or have the stigma of brain injury means stupid. I could not live with that. So
Mm,
I pushed myself beyond that boundary and said, I'm going to achieve something, whatever that something was. I had no idea of the
okay.
program. I heard the words consciousness-based education, block system, and then I began finding out what do those really mean? And it
Yes.
wasn't at the beginning of the program that I learned that. It was actually in the middle of the program that I
Yeah,
understood.
it doesn't all come to you at once, or it takes a while for it to penetrate.
Absolutely. You know, and we're
Yeah.
also very good as humans to take things for granted. So I was doing TM since 17. I even took my TM for granted. It was a tool that works, I use it, but it was like eating. You know, sometimes you eat senselessly, you don't know why you're doing it. I was meditating without understanding the meaning of what my meditation was actually doing for me. And it was only through the program and through my course that I got that deeper understanding and that deeper
Yeah,
connection with
yeah.
self.
I love that. I absolutely love that. They go hand in hand, the knowledge and the experience. Simply having knowledge is obviously not sufficient. You have to have the experience and the practice, but to really fully be engaged with the experience, continuing to evolve in the knowledge, I think is extremely important. They go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Mm, yeah. And you used the word stupid. You said you didn't want brain injury to be equated with stupid. I'm wondering where your determination has come, what do you attribute that kind of determination and that resolve that you had?
I think it's something I've had to have for a long time in my life. I've had a
Mm,
lot of trauma in my life, a lot of challenges that I've had to overcome.
And I think the earliest being from
4 years old. So I had learned how to always just strive to be a better me. I was never in competition with the outside world. I was very different from my family and my friends. I always believed,
I think in this in a universe that is peaceful, just my husband calls it my candy floss land because he thinks I live up in the air with unicorns and candy floss.
but it's a world
Candy,
where,
did you say candy floss?
yes,
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
yeah, and I've had to create an image of or a world within my reality to be able to succeed in. And I think looking back, it probably was motivated by knowledge is power. Don't know where I knew that concept from when I was younger because I always read. I was well read. I searched anything and everything. I had this ability to absorb knowledge, and if there's something I really wanted to know about, I found out. So there was always this desire to grow, and there was also this desire to attain liberation. And I think that came from the fact that as young kids, we were always sent off to our Sunday school where we were learning about the scriptures and we were chanting and reciting mantras. And we were surrounded by these gurus that imparted knowledge. So for me, I took a great interest in that as well because
Mm,
you're surrounded by this knowledge that not everybody else knows. So that knowing of being a divine being started from a very young age. So I
mm,
couldn't neglect that divine being, even though I may have rejected my physical self and emotional and mental self. That spiritual self was always so whole and innocent and um, pure. So I believe that is what kept me going and kept me alive. Because honestly, Noreen, the days when that I've been through where I wished I was dead, but it all comes from the pain in the head and the pain in the heart. Um, and it's tough to say, but it's the reality of the situation. But it's that divine spark and that little voice that we don't usually listen to that says, you are worthy, you are deserving of more, you can make it. That's our silent cheerleader in life, is our divine essence.
mm. I love that. It's funny because I just used those two words, worthy and deserving, over the last weekend. So it's interesting that you should use those two precise words. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So tell me how you came to enroll and you decided, you decided it went from getting the emails and then decided, you know what, I'm going to enroll in Maharishi Ayurveda Integrative Medicine. You were going to become a student. Tell me about that.
yeah. That also had its challenges because I decided I was going to do this again, having
Been um, terminated from my employment, not having any money. I didn't have a cent to do this course. So I was chatting to someone, and also at that stage I was not employable because of the brain injury. And in South
Sure.
Africa, you labeled quite a lot.
Hmm?
I was told I can't work with somebody that's disabled, so cheers. So that kind of left a big gap, and I thought, okay, that's your opinion. Let me see what I can do. So I was chatting to someone who was a previous client of mine, and he said, "Oh, I'll fund your studies." And I said, "Really? This is how much it costs?" Um, and he
I'll
says,
find you
"Oh,
a, I didn't quite hear the word that I'll find you a,
no." He said he will fund my studies.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, all right.
So that was okay. The university saying, I need to do this. Let me go for it.
I
Signed
think they
up,
call
did
that supportive nature.
well. That's what I thought, till you hear what actually happened. So here was meditating for guidance and meditating and waiting for guidance. And I did get guidance. And I was told, yeah, ask this person. I did ask him. Um, he said he will fund it for the 3 years. So the first part of the program was the anatomy and physiology course that was offered, I think, for over 2 months. And we got into that. So I started doing that without needing to pay any fees yet.
Right. Okay.
And then I think it was when the fees were due, this person disappeared,
Oh boy.
didn't commit. I was sitting with absolutely, what do I do now?
Okay.
Started panicking, had a lot of stress. And then nature support kicked in because I did get some funding from an possibly a strange source, or let's say unexpected source. I got my funding. I started doing the program, but it was only funding for 6 months. Then it was funding for a year. So I went through every semester wondering if I was ever going to complete.
Right, right.
So it was
Yeah.
really,
So
really
was it,
stressful.
of course, because here you were committed to this and you didn't know if the financing was going to come through. Yeah, that is.
Absolutely. So, I had good guidance, and I was
Told just keep your desire, keep
Mm-hmm.
meditating, practical advice that instead of stressing and wanting a certain outcome, you set your intention and you allow the universe to support you. And even right up to after 2.5 years, I had issues with funding for my last semester. And Noreen, I must tell you, nature's support is amazing. When you really just put yourself out there and you clear about whatever it is that you want. And if it's also truly aligned with your dharma, which is your life purpose, nothing can actually stand in your path. And now I find myself in the last semester, I was able to find funding for that. I will complete in literally, I think it's about 8 weeks' time, and I complete and I
Wow.
graduate. And I can't believe how this journey has come to an end in such a positive light, even though there were so many challenges.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, I mean, also, the obstacles that I always view the obstacles are there for a reason as well. That, it's the
yeah,
universe. I believe it's the universe testing us. Do I really want this? How strong is my desire? Am I going
yeah,
to persist? Because they're inevitable that we're going to have faced obstacles. So you had your accident, your brain injury in 2019. You came into the program in 2021 or 22?
end of 2021. So officially started the MAVM in 2022.
Okay. So tell me how that was for you, with you were obviously very determined, but tell me how it was for you undergoing an academic program and, what that experience was like for you.
Wow, it was one of the toughest thing I ever chose to do. Um, First of all, being in an academic setting with new content was very daunting. However,
Hmm.
knowing that I was in a safe space at MIU, with the meditation,
With the supportive staff members, um, that gave me the confidence and the focus to carry on. That was the first thing, hands down, that started getting me through the program. Um, Trying to learn something new. I didn't realize what I'd actually signed up for or what I'd taken on because from the time I started learning, I was still going through my recovery. So I couldn't walk properly. I didn't have the ability to sit up for long
Mhm.
periods in a day. So I had that going on, and I was trying to learn, and I was trying to learn how my brain worked, which was very different from how I used to do things. So something as
Yes.
simple as using Microsoft Word was a challenge to me. I did not know how to save a Word document. So here I am starting a degree, relearning computer skills, relearning Microsoft Word, Canvas. Boy, that freaked me out. And the first time I ever looked at it, I was shocked. What is this? How do I navigate Canvas? Or how does it work for me? And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to drop the ball with something. But something shifted in me where I thought, let me not be fearful of something. Let me embrace it. Let me see what I can do. But what was also amazing was as I said, support from the university. But besides the support that you get from your teachers and lecturers, the support from the accessibility department was also amazing. I never knew, even though I worked at a university, I never knew that was available.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. I think that when we have a disability or we have a family member with a disability, we all of a sudden become much more aware of all the kind of the minefield of things that, and also just we're really looking for support and ways to navigate. I know because my father's in a wheelchair, so just thinking about where he can go, where parking lots are flat. It's things that your brain you didn't have the occasion or opportunity to really experience before. So I love what you said about it really was the support and commitment with the university to really and obviously your strong commitment and desire. And I also love what you said, Avanthi, about you had to learn how your brain was now going to learn.
Mhm.
And that just requires such an openness and a curiosity. And it is so easy to go to fear and to really close up regarding that. But instead, you continued through it and said, instead of going to fear, I'm going to embrace what is happening in this situation. So yeah, that's just really a real inspiration. And so I so appreciate that. Let's turn specifically to Ayurveda. We talked about academics, how you came to the program. If you think about what you've learned just over the course of your life, but also in the academic program in terms of Ayurveda, are there particular things that you've incorporated into your daily routine? And I always shy away from that daily routine because nobody wants to be rigid, we don't like routine all the time. Ayurveda obviously wants us to have routine and but yeah, if you were to just say, hey, these are things that have really, really worked well for me and really been game changers. And can include transcendental meditation or some of your meditative experiences, but what's really been game changers for you in terms of Ayurveda or transcendental meditation?
I'm laughing because uh, when you go through brain injury, and I've seen this with myself and
A whole lot of people that I had met with other brain injuries, is that none of it, once you go through trauma, you do not have a routine. Your brain literally is messed up. It's like a filing cabinet that falls over and everything is all over the place. So I need to tell you that routine, daily routine, is one of the most important things that started helping
Okay.
me get back on track. And
So the
daily,
daily
like,
routine. is helping you to retrain.
Absolutely, because people like us need structure,
Yes.
and having a routine settles the anxiety, the panic attacks, the uncertainty. It puts a lot of things into perspective. So even though the daily routine is almost overused, it is necessary to achieve certain things. So I can say I don't have a perfect routine compared to how I used to be. My life used to be run by the clock. Everything used to happen on time. It doesn't happen like that because I have to listen to my body now. I have to have the self referral mechanism every single day. So that's the second thing about Ayurveda that comes up. And the self referral mechanism comes from doing your TM. And TM's one part of it, but I found once I completed all my advanced techniques, which were also within the last 5 years, that it elevated my my TM to a different level. So having just the meditation and that really accelerates your ability to know yourself and perceive yourself, because I suffered from dissociation for about 3.5 years of those 5 years that I've been through my recovery. I couldn't look in the mirror. I didn't want to accept the person that I was because there were so many things I couldn't do. And I was focusing on that. And the only thing I could do was my studies. And my studies were very structured. The way the program is run is very structured. The way you do your assignments are very structured. So I had control of my learning because of that structure. So
Yeah.
routine was important, structure was important in order to heal.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Obviously, you can tell I've got a bit of Vata in me. I resist the daily routine, right? But
Absolutely.
but I love that because by adopting the daily routine, the Dinacharya and Ayurveda, you're setting a foundation and a base so that you can
Absolutely.
play within that daily routine. But if you don't have a good routine, then kind of all bets are off. And you've indicated that for you in your situation, the routine and the structure, they really go hand in hand.
Yes.
And the second thing you indicated was the TM and the advanced techniques were really important in calming you and refining the nervous system to such extent that you really could have that self-referral. And you could also be more in tune with, what do I need right now? You use the word
Yes.
dissociate. So you could reassociate, you could associate. Because lots of times the mind can tell us what it is that we need, but it may those things may or may not be what we truly need. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's really great. Um, as you've delved into Ayurveda in a very deep way over the last 3 years, are there certain aspects of Ayurveda that really just have wowed you, or that you feel like you want to go in more deeply with?
Um,
It may or may not
well,
apply to your own personal experience.
yes. I love everything that I learned. Simple terms like um, what ama is and how to clear that, and what agni represents in the
Body, not just on a not only in the physiology, but what Agni means in the greater scheme of things, being introduced to the Vedic knowledge in little bits. It opened up, as I said, a world that is vast in terms of what's available to us. And yet there's such a simplicity to everything that Ayurveda has. Ayurveda is exactly the science of life. It is as simple as that. I think when we go into academia and look for knowledge, we're always looking for something that's going to give us this effect of a meteor falling and crashing into Earth, something big and wow. Ayurveda has that effect without having that kind of um, within that simplicity. I could not believe that things that we were doing growing up and living had such impact, such great impact on the natural laws of life. So there's such a huge spiritual aspect that became very grounded in my understanding of life. I have fallen in love with the brain in a bigger way, besides my own journey, but what is available from the perspective of Ayurveda to heal the brain, to heal the heart, to heal the gut, and that connection, that for me is truly mind-blowing. There's so many things that I've learned that I wake up every day feeling excited about Ayurveda. And anyone I talk to about it's like, I can hear your passion, but they don't understand it's not only passion, because passion I feel is a man-made word. It's something bigger than that. It is that connection to consciousness that we speak about. It's you recognizing yourself as one with the divine. It's all of those things coming together when you study Ayurveda and when you begin living it and when you begin learning about it. It's truly a remarkable experience.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I really love that. I love what you shared. Especially, simple things like Ama and Agni. If people just focused on Ama being toxins, eliminating toxins, purifying the body on a regular basis, and ensuring that Agni, the appetite, desire, uh, that there's that Agni is good and adequate and strong, they'd probably be 95% to good health right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Digestion moves way beyond food, and that's also something that I learned during the course is it's about how you digest experiences, how you digest your thoughts and things like that that add to your well-being. So the concept of Agni which is usually limited to digestive fire goes so far beyond that. So it is everything that we experience, what we
Speak about, and the Bible used to speak about thought, word, and deed, and things like that, which or everything's related. All the lessons that you've learned from every religion and every culture, all is based in the teachings of the Vedas. It's so beautifully expressed, except that the language was foreign to people. So Sanskrit
Hmm.
is a challenge. I don't know it. I know how to pray in Sanskrit, but I don't have the understanding of the language yet. But things that I've also heard about Sanskrit, that Sanskrit, the energy of reading or reciting Sanskrit has the same energy of taking you into meditative state. I think that's magnificent on some level. So I
Yeah,
really get
well,
excited about this knowledge.
yeah, well, it has a vibratory impact and it's resonating in our physiology, obviously. So it's really beautiful. And I love what you shared about when we study Ayurveda, we learn that it's not just the food. Food is the starting point, but everything that enters our consciousness, uh, we're required to digest, and either we're digesting and assimilating, removing if necessary, or we're not. So what's building up like the emotional ama? So that's really significant as well. And Ayurveda is simple. It's a science of life. It's not like a meteor falling on your head.
Not at all.
What?
I said, not at all. Yeah, it's simple. It's just there.
It's simple yet big. I love that. I love that. Simple yet big. Great. Um, awesome, awesome. Well, Ayurveda, it's not yet a household word. How do you, Avanthi, how would you like to make Ayurveda more accessible? If you could wave your magic wand, and how would you like to make it more mainstream?
I
And
could,
what
I'd brought,
steps do you think we need to take in order to do that? How to
uh,
bring this knowledge out there?
well, if I could, I'd, be in outer space announcing the benefits of Ayurveda. But since that's not possible, I plan to start. I have big visions for Ayurveda in South Africa because it's not really known. But since I'm still healing, I am in still the process of healing and recovering. I'm starting small. I will be starting to consult with clients um, to help them on a one-on-one basis.
I do plan to get more involved in the education of Ayurveda, and preferably at grassroots levels, which would be schools, which would be children and their parents, because once a bad habit is formed, it's very challenging to undo. But if we can educate children where they are, as I said, I remember myself as a kid wanting to absorb knowledge, but the knowledge was so limited that I took whatever I could. Taking Ayurveda into schools, bringing consciousness and meditation into schools. I know it is happening in the movement where there are Maharishi schools
Mhm.
available. However, I want that to be available to everyone. Everyone needs to have a choice whether they do want a consciousness-based education and conscious life and lifestyle, or are they happy to just live in the ignorant world of just consuming KFC and McDonald's and aimlessly spending their weekends drinking themselves into a stupor? There's a point where people need to know that they have choices. I think people just, go along life without any awareness, and bringing these subtle teachings to them will plant seeds of awareness for them and then give them choice, whether they choose it for themselves and their families, or whether they choose it in later life. But to also bring the benefits of preventing diseases before they arise. Diseases are so prevalent, especially in a third world country where we don't have proper healthcare, or people are living below the poverty line to be able to afford healthcare. I would like to provide education where people understand that healing can be free to some degree. It takes the willingness to heal in order for you to heal. And it takes the curiosity to know what you can do. So people need to be educated. For example, if they have tulsi in their backyard, they can use it for respiratory issues. I want them to make those associations. Nobody needs them to study a degree on that, but they need to know I'm able to heal because I have a substance in my backyard. I'm able to cook a healthy meal because I'm eating according to my body type and eating according to what nature has provided. So that mindset will change a lot of
Oh,
people's um,
excuse me for one moment. I realized
okay,
I set an alarm that I need to turn off. Just a
sure.
moment. With that, even on Zoom, things happen, right? Well, lots of things happen on
Yes,
Zoom.
That's the fun part.
No, that's really wonderful. I love that. I love what you shared about really being open to education and really particularly consciousness-based education, which is really at the core of Maharishi Ayurveda. And that, people, it's a power of choice. And lots of people are on autopilot. You use the word, people are engaged in mindless activity. And, sometimes it's hard to put the brakes on, and we can be a catalyst to help them do that, to help them see that there is another way. And also, you talked about Ayurveda and the power of prevention. And we hear a lot about prevention in modern medicine, but really Ayurveda is a science of balance. So it's that self-referral and coming in and being able to be attuned with these subtle imbalances that start to percolate in the body. And if we can do that, we can really, we really have power in not letting them, you know, um, grow to the point where, we have a more serious issue. Ayurveda being the system of self-healing, you use the word that much of this healing is free. Well, it is a system of self-healing, and we're an integrative approach, so we work with modern medicine. But there's so much that we can do to self-empower. And to embrace the principles of Ayurveda really is self-empowerment. So you really encapsulated it. And it does take willingness. But sometimes, like you said, people don't have the exposure. They don't know about this. So if we can just be at places and be open to conversations, we can instigate that curiosity that will, that they will want to know and learn more about this beautiful science. So, Avanthi, this was absolutely fabulous. I have one final question for you because I want to be respectful of your time, and that is, if you were to meet somebody who is interested in studying Ayurveda, but they feel intimidated, what advice would you offer?
I would say go and meditate on it, learn TM first. It will open up many doors. And finding that space, again, every answer that we need to know, we have it within us as well. A lot of people that I've seen in the program have also used their brain too much about, oh,
This is not for me. For whatever reason, they've made up a story, but they haven't really given themselves a chance to experience the knowledge. So I would say, I would tell every person to sign up for the Maven course or the undergrad program, because this is the science of life. It's knowledge that we should have been taught from little. That's a no-brainer, for me. But I know that they are intimidated, especially with there being the Sanskrit words involved, or it seems like a foreign topic because it comes from a foreign land. However, it isn't. There's such simplicity in Ayurveda that you have to learn the knowledge, but use it on yourself, experience it, and then feel within yourself how you'd like to share this with others. A lot of people, we've been through a lot of modules about the heart and the kidney and things like that. And somebody will talk to me about the kidney and like, I don't want to know about that really. That's not where my heart and soul is in right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
However, because all the systems work together, you have to have an overview, but go with your passion. I might
right.
never do something that my colleague does, but whatever I do, I'm going to do with my heart and soul and passion that I feel for it. So find yourself and then decide where you want to go with Ayurveda. But you only can find yourself when you are committed to a structured course. Otherwise, the
Right.
seeker sometimes gets lost on different paths with different gurus and different information. So when you make a decision and stick by it. There's different paths that will get you to the same goal, and choose
Mhm.
correctly at the beginning, and the rest just becomes such a flow in life.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. So obviously undergoing an academic rigorous program, not everyone is inclined to do that, but if they are, making the decision, taking the steps, and also realizing that everything you learn is not going to, you're not going to be necessarily enamored with.
Correct.
Maybe the heart and the kidneys are not your thing, but realizing that it's important to have this knowledge, to have the total knowledge, and then really figuring out what really resonates for you, what speaks to your heart, what speaks to your mind with regard to Ayurveda. So really keeping an open mind as to what's going to transpire over the course of this journey. So absolutely wonderful. Good advice. Any final words, Avanthi?
I think the final words would be everyone has this innate ability to heal. We're always searching outside of ourselves, but the greatest tool that we've given or word that we're given is
Introspection and self-awareness. Those are the words that will open up paths that are unimaginable. I honestly didn't think that I would make it to the end of this degree, and through always just trusting myself and having this awareness of what my fears were, what my desires were, my desires began to grow, and it's now manifested that I'm almost at the end. So just follow what is truly right for you. Those are the best words that I can leave for anyone to live with.
Well, thank you so much. This was really a wonderful opportunity to meet with you. I appreciate you taking the time.
thank you, Noreen.